Hey guys, good morning, evening, afternoon. Mas Sajada here with Mas on Sunday. Welcome back. Today, we've got the impact sessions where I scan individuals and tell them exactly what's going on. I don't need to know, again, it's part of my abilities. I don't need to know any storyline or anything like that, but it's really good to have a great feedback. A lot of people, a lot of people think that my abilities are, the one and only, and I'm the only one with these abilities and so on like that. That's not really true, guys. As the world evolves, as the new consciousness comes in, however you think of it, the spiritual people go, well, the new consciousness is coming in. Scientists are going, well, the new paradigm is coming in, and you have all these different views, and it's just semantics. I see it as a new way of how time and space comes in. We become more and more efficient. If you look at any invention, for example, like your cell phone, at first it wasn't the best. Now it's really, really fantastic, right? Same thing with time and space. Same thing with the renderings of the body, how you render yourself here, the possibilities of what we could do here. So in the near future, this is the new paradigm coming in. And again, scientists see it from another way. Religious people see it from another way. And I just want to talk about that, and then we'll get into the impact sessions. But overall, the underlying reason, or the first principle reason on why all this is happening is, like I said, time and space is becoming more efficient. Nature, basically, you don't understand that. Nature is becoming more efficient, like it always has. It's always transcending. It's for billions of years. It's moving into a higher level of itself. Right? We're part of nature. So as humans, we have to, again, move to a higher level, whether we like it or not. And I've said before, if we don't, the species just disappears, just like extinction, right? That's where extinction is like, hey, you know what? Saber-toothed tiger, you're not just needed anymore. It wasn't because of pollution or whatever. Although in this reality, we're killing ourselves with pollution and so on. So that is a real cause or a real threat. But again, just like the saber-toothed tiger, dinosaurs, whatever, something happens, whatever it is, comets hitting the earth and all that, something happens that makes it go extinct, and then a new concept or that leap of faith. And that's the key point, is like something has to go extinct, die off, and then transcend into a higher version of itself. So the saber-toothed tiger, well, now there's different types of, say, tigers or animals like that, right? Which is more efficient, so on. We've done that as humans back in the day. If you look at through human history, we're not the shape that we are today. We weren't the shapes. There were bigger humans, there were smaller humans, and so on and so on. Humans that look like apes. We didn't transcend from apes, but no species does, by the way. So, but it is an extinction process, and then we take that leap of faith, and then poof, another form, a better form, shows up. In what's happening today, though, in this reality as consciousness, and you'll see the earth massively transformed like it is. And that's proof of that. I predicted that a while back, but now we're seeing like the magnetic shifts, and you'll see land masses shifting and so on like that. And that's all part of the evolutionary process. It's not like we've been bad, like Noah's story. It's just a part of the evolutionary process. It's not like we've sinned or we've fucked up and all that, and God is revenge and all that. It's not about that. It's just an evolutionary process. I just want to state that, because humans are part of that evolutionary process, but humans have free will. And and that's the key. We can choose to go towards our next version of self, or we can choose to stay behind. Okay. Either way, the ship leaves. So if we choose to stay behind, well, eventually we'll go extinct or die off, or machines take over, like Ray Kurzweil says, and so on, or Elon will go extinct. And then again, a new form, a new version of humans will appear, a better version. In this scenario, and that's why it's so important in this time in history that's ever happened for billions of years, is that a species does not have to go extinct. Humans have evolved to a level where it can go to a grand level of consciousness, a huge step up, without going extinct. And that's what we're facing today in this life, or in this reality. What that means is that all the bullshit that you live, government systems, political systems, the way you run your businesses, the way you run your life, the way you think you are, the way you get diseased, how you see yourself, the tortures and everything that you brought from memory, or from your genetics into who you think you are, all those things will have to be removed. And that's what's happening. So you can either take it as, we did something wrong, or the World Economic Forum, we have to eliminate 90% of the population, or again, the spiritual side is like, well, people are going to die off because they've sinned, or the environmentalists, it's like, well, we're polluting too much, we got to do the carbon tax, we're going to kill ourselves. Again, it's sure, it could be all that. Those are end results of of what I just said. So it's an exciting time. If you choose to jump into that consciousness, you're not going to get stuck in the fray of all that bullshit that's happening as the world, again, struggles or holds on to its old identity and old solutions to solve this new world problems or new consciousness problems, guys. So the key is, it's not what you're doing, it's not what you believe in, it's the consciousness that whatever you're doing or believing in is really about. Okay. So in this today's, and that's just, and it's happening. It started, I think this, what is it? The summer solstice a couple of days ago. I don't know if a lot of you feel something kind of kick in on the 21st? That's literally consciousness, or the shift. It's like an earthquake that comes through, but it's an earthquake of time and space. Just like tectonic plates, they shift, right? And a new earth forms and so on. New land masses form. Other land masses, go underwater. Well, new tectonic plates of time and space come over, and this is the new space. You either go into that space or you don't. Right? That's all it is. So anyway, that's a general theme. So we have these lovely individuals that will be pushing into that new consciousness, or giving them the opportunity. Again, it's their choice whether they do it or not. One of the biggest things, there's a couple people here from Father's Day. Okay, so we're gonna take them and still do the Father's Day theme with them, because that's what we promised them. And then there's some new individuals as well. So we're going to do that. And you'll start to see that. And it's not about just helping these individuals, by the way. As I work on, as I scan the individuals and as I work on them, I'll be working on you as well, listening. Even if it's on a recording, you'll still get the frequencies. Okay. So those are new technologies that are available in the new consciousness. that's coming up, along with new inventions that don't destroy us, new concepts of loving each other, taking care of each other. So all these problems that we have back, that we've always had, can resolve once and for all. So it's really an exciting time if you choose it. Otherwise, you can create calamity for yourself. So get ready, guys. Let's go ahead and just take a deep breath in, make it an experiential experience. um, Again, take a breath in. Just notice your throat, notice the neck area, and just look around you. Just look around you, and we'll get you into the present moment really quick. Faster than NLP, meditation, uh, whatever people do out there to settle in. Just look around you, look at an object, and then look at a point on your body. So pay attention. For example, the window is right in front of me. My collarbone. That's it. That's all you got to do. And those who are more advanced, they can do all five senses if you'd like. Uh, and notice how you settle in. Again, I didn't, excuse me, I didn't guide you into a meditation. I didn't do anything like that. I just pushed you into a different state of consciousness, literally. So how do I do that? Well, not going to discuss it here, but just know that it works, even if you don't believe it. So, alrighty. So we'll go with Christine. Is it Christine or Christina?
You can call me Chris.
Oh, hey, Chris. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thanks.
Happy to be here. Great.
I'm glad you're here too. Anything special you want to work on? Where's your father?
Um, Relationships with my son.
Yeah.
That
Okay. So again, where's your father?
Sorry.
Where's your father?
Um, in Connecticut.
Okay. How's he doing?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen him in a little bit, but I talk to him weekly. I think he's okay.
Okay. The reason why I ask is just that, well, he's just getting older.
Yes.
And, as people get older, they think about death and so on like that.
Hmm.
But since you've always been the support mechanism, Chris, for him, if that makes sense for you,
That makes sense. Yes.
as he gets older, what happens is that his burdens or what he couldn't figure out in life basically come onto you. It's like, you know what, Chris, I didn't figure this shit out. I couldn't figure out relationships. I couldn't figure out your mom and so on like that. I did. And then it's like, here you go. You do it. You figure this out. Does that make sense? So you're feeling
Definitely makes sense.
you're,
Yes.
you're feeling a heavier burden, and he might want to check his health. I don't know if he doesn't like doctors or something like that, but
It's possible. I don't know.
he might just want to check his health out.
Okay.
That I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but he seems like he stays away from doctors, and then also um
Yeah.
religion, from what I'm seeing as well. is
Hmm.
he is he against religion, or
No, he goes to church weekly.
okay?
Yeah.
um Okay, got it. So, uh, let's just talk about that, because sometimes, when you're a young kid, you get forced to go to church, and then although you might not like it because you feel, that push, he just goes to church just to guarantee that he's going to go to a good place when he crosses over. So, anyway, but this is about you. The reason why I'm talking about your dad a lot is because your essence is a lot like your dad. Although you're a woman, you have this masculine frequency. You've taken on the burdens of him. Does that make
Mm.
sense for you? So you
I
have a
feel that.
masculine.
Absolutely. Yes.
So that's one of the biggest deals that you have. And then you were talking about your son. What's your son's name, and how old is he?
Tommy, 28.
Okay. So Tommy's 28. He feels like a 19, 20-year-old, by the way. Emotionally younger, and so on. And again, I'm not saying it's um well, It's just the way you raised him, basically. And what he's done is like he finally figured it out, around 24, 25 from what I'm seeing. And he's just like pushing you away. It's like, Mom, I gotta be
Yep.
my own self. Okay. So your dad, a loving relationship, a caring relationship, and like entangled relationship, if that makes sense for you.
Hmm.
But at some point when you were younger, you lost your identity, and he literally merged into you, so to speak. His
Hmm.
worries became your worries. Does that make sense to you?
Yes,
Even
it
if you
does.
weren't connected, uh,
Hmm.
especially in your mid 20s, it messed up. Did you get married or something?
Yes, I got married.
In your mid 20s?
Um, I think it was early 30s.
Okay, what happened to you like 24, 25?
Uh,
Take a breath in, just notice your chest. Uh,
um, can't
did
remember.
Okay. Just to jog your memory, hon,
Hmm.
did something happen to your father where you had a choice to go your path, and then something happened to your father, or mom, in any of that kind of situation, and basically, it's like your route or your path, your life path took his course, so to speak, a bit more. From what
Um,
I could
I
be
don't,
off in a couple of years.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so, do you notice over time that again your life has say transitioned into, well, something different than what you expected, right?
Yes. Hmm.
So, although that started when you were younger, something, it's like a road. It keeps separating at 24. It could be, I could be off by a couple of years, maybe 28, where you just got pulled, and maybe that's when you met. So the husband, when you got married at 30, when did you meet him?
Um, about 32.
Okay. So again, I could be off. There might have, but
Or,
the person that you married kind of feels like your mom, basically,
hmm.
from what I'm seeing. Does
Hmm.
that make sense for you?
That
So,
makes sense too. Yeah.
so do you see how roles kind of flip over?
No.
You turn more into your dad, you would attract somebody like your mom.
Oh,
Does that make sense for
that
you?
does make sense. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Hmm.
So as you become more and more masculine, the person that you married, he becomes more and more, well, like your mom, a masculine version of your mom. Does that make sense?
Hmm. It
You
does make sense.
basically is a feminine version of your father. Does that make sense for you?
Okay. Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Wow.
And your son is like going, if I continue on, I'm going to turn feminine.
Oh,
Does that make sense? Because
it makes sense.
you
My
love,
son has my son hasn't spoken to me in over a year, or my daughter.
yeah, no offense, I wouldn't either. Not because you're not a loving person or anything. And this is what bothers, parents and so on. Take a breath in. And again, just for Father's Day. By the way, we're having a father, I forgot the name that we're calling it, but frequencies for the father. If the team can put that on coming up. So basically, what happens is that they don't speak to you because they don't want to turn into you or your husband. So that's the whole deal. So
Hmm.
as the cool thing about it is that as you shift on and you move away and find your own personality, it allows your son and your daughter to come back to you because you're not pushing that pattern. It's not you at a conscious level. You're not even aware of it. And that's the key. Many parents aren't aware of what they're doing, but they're just propagating the genetic pool of, again, so his mom, your father's mom pushed
Hmm.
into him. He is pushing
Yep.
into you. Your woman is pushing into your son, making him feminine, and he doesn't like that. Your daughter turns more masculine, and
Oh my
that she
gosh.
doesn't like that either. Do you see the genetic
Oh
pattern?
my gosh. I do see that. Oh my gosh.
So,
Hmm.
so we'll have to move on. But what I did for you here was literally push all that away, disconnect, so you can stand back and then observe the rhythm of your parents. So go back in your family history and you'll go, oh my God, grandma was playing a man role, and so on and so on. And then it'll dissipate for you. And I would suggest doing the 18 days coming up in July.
I
And this,
did. I did the 18 days already.
oh, perfect. Yeah, do it
Yeah.
again. And this time, especially
Yeah.
with this mini session,
Uh-huh.
you'll really see you coming into a strong woman. And
Right.
this will help your relation. This will help your kids, by the way,
Oh,
and
wonderful.
break pattern of that. So, okay, huh?
Excellent. Yeah.
Uh, nice job. Really nice.
Thank
Uh,
you.
you're so welcome. We'll go to Nadine, but before we do, guys, do you see that pattern? I mean, those people who are XIers or did the healing mastery, do you see the pattern on why people's lives are the way they are? Now, Christine goes, oh, wow, I didn't notice that pattern. But once you see the pattern, that's half the battle of you resolving a lot of things. And it's not just about, your son's relationship, but it's about everything about you. You're going to, for her, she's going to be a stronger woman. But let me just propel that just a bit more. And this is important. So again, Christine, a bit more masculine, her son, more feminine, her daughter, more masculine. They get married. Okay, they'll go get married. The son will create a masculine, will attract a masculine woman. The daughter will attract a feminine man, and so on and so on. And this is where confusion of sexual identity comes in today's world. It's a huge problem where, again, people don't know whether they're man or female. They're, I don't know, they're LGBTQ, DXYZ, whatever. And I'm not knocking it down or anything like that, but I'm just telling you that's the that's, let's say, the transformation or evolution. It's not just with Christine. There's a lot of women that lost their sons, their husbands in war. So they take on a masculine frequency. Hence, that's what's happened to Christine's family back in the day. And then, again, it just perpetuates. It's called genetics, called evolution, guys. We'll go to Nadine. See what's going on with her. Hi, Nadine. How are you, hon?
Hi, yeah, I'm really good to be
I'm
here.
excited for you.
Thank you.
How long have you done XI, or are you new, or?
Oh, I've done it already, time on and off.
I saw, I see that, but there's a new you showing up, if that makes sense. It's especially the past few
Yes,
months. Actually, I think you actually ran a masculine frequency, kind of like
very
this.
true.
Does that make
Very,
sense? Yeah.
yes,
Yes. So now it's like, holy shit, I'm a woman. And I
hmm
think that's hitting you in the past 3 months, like really hard, like I'm a woman. And then now, right where you are now, and let's just perpetuate that for you. It's like, well, wait a second. You're looking around, and first of all, it's like, well, what is a woman? You're trying to define what a woman is, because you're looking around and going, well, like Oprah, I don't want to be like her. She might be, a power mover and stuff, but not the best woman. Or I don't know, Nancy Pelosi, or all those individuals, even the beautiful women on, you look at them and it's like, shit, like what the Kardashians and so on. It's like, fuck, I don't want to be like that. They're beautiful, but so what you're doing, and that's what I'm helping you with, Nadine, is take a breath in, huh? Is literally that you are pulling in, like, say, the beauty of the Kardashians, or the intelligence of, say, Oprah, or whoever, and so on. And even men, you're looking at men and you're observing, oh, that's a good trait for a man to have. So you're redefining what a man and what a woman is, what feminine frequencies are, what masculine frequencies are. Does that make sense for you?
Totally,
Yeah.
totally, yes.
So
And I'm shifting all parts of my life more and more into, okay, how do I want to live it more from my feminine essence instead of the masculine shell that I've had before?
there you go. So take a breath in, hon. Just notice for women and men as well, but especially specifically since you're a woman. By the way, if you if you got older, you would have masculine problems. It sounds kind of strange, but yeah, you would have the problems of masculinity. It's kind of weird, but your feminine organs, did you have issues then, or did um did your father have prostate issues?
No, no, my grandma, one of my grandmas, she had breast cancer.
Okay,
Um,
got it.
yeah.
Something like, okay. So it was feminine organ parts. Got it. Um, so in your family, and again, what's happening is that when you're taking on, and you're different than Chris, the previous caller, take a breath in, hon. You all take the burdens of masculine people, of masculine. So does that make sense? So you get, say you're in a relationship, or you used to be in a relationship, or whatever, back in the day before XI, you would take the burdens or support that man. Does that make
Yeah.
sense to you? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. Totally.
So the thing is, the way you would do it is like, say the man had prostate issues. Okay. Somehow you would have, although you don't have a prostate, you would have some sort of issue in the sexual organs for you. Your grandma, for example, I know it sounds crazy to medical doctors, but just hear me out, guys, doctors, is like your grandma would be carrying her father and then the grandfather, because she was such a loving woman. She would like, or her sons, like say her son got, I don't know, had a disease or got his arm cut off or whatever, some kind of something happened to her son. She would take on the pain. She would like mimic the pain of having her arm cut off and whatever. It'd be that extreme. Does that make sense to you? How that works? Okay, you were kind of like that, especially if you had, do you have kids too?
No,
I see you with 2 kids, by the way. I don't know if that's a future.
I was just thinking that maybe this is not for me in this life, but who knows?
Okay, yeah, I could, and kids could come in a different way, or you might be taking care of 2 kids, and all that. Okay, but the key is, say your grandma had breast cancer, so if she is holding on to, say, the pain of men, her body pretty soon goes, well, what am I doing with breasts? Because I'm a man, and then they would have to be eliminated somehow. That makes sense. So there's a lot of women with breast cancer who carry on basically the burdens of their man, or their men in their lives, basically. It's got nothing to do with you, but I'm just helping those people in the audience go, oh, maybe that's why I have breast cancer. So anyway, for you, what I was doing, take a breath in and just notice your sexual organs, okay? Including the biggest one, your brain. A lot of women, and this is where the confusion comes, a lot of women, they join women's groups, feminine groups, and and again, it doesn't matter how feminine they look on the outside. On the inside, they have this masculine brain, especially if they're successful. So they recreate a masculine, because it's a man's world out there. So for women to be successful, you'd have to turn into a man, and their brain turns masculine, and then they lose their feminine identity. I work with female clients, high profile female clients, and they're like, yeah, Moss, I've got all the fortune and fame, but shit, I don't feel like a woman. They really literally don't feel their feminine body parts, because it's their main part here is a man. So their body doesn't feel like a woman. Hence, going back to you, is that you're going to start to feel that you're a woman. your body's going to feel like a woman. And then the connection between your brain and your feminine parts are going to reconnect. And it's like, oh, wow. It feels really good to be a solid woman. And you're not. And then also with this, because you move really fast because you get it, you're exponentially intelligent. What'll happen is that you'll go extreme female where you'll cry and you'll be weak and all that, and it's like, well, shit, I don't want to be like that. And then you'll go to an aggressive bitchy type female and all masculine female, like, I don't want to be like that either. And then you'll center yourself and calibrate yourself as a strong woman. I call it an XI woman, just complete, independent. And this is where new relationships form and so on like that. Okay, did that make sense for you? Questions?
Yes, and I can imagine, because the thing that I came in was basically the relationship with my dad, but I can imagine that will also shift with this energy shifting.
Yep, you're like Chris's daughter, the last caller. Yeah, so energy with you're basically pushing. It's like, Dad, I don't want your frequencies. I don't like
exactly. Parts of me are like, I want to run away from it, even though I want to be there for him.
Yeah. So by the way, your dad might want to check his prostate. Okay. So because I was seeing prostate issues in you, although obviously you don't have a prostate, but the key is if you're burdening, and that's why you're pushing him away, especially as you become exponentially intelligent like that. I'm not a guy, I don't have a prostate, but so I'm not a doctor, but you might want to ask your dad to check his prostate, because I see that pattern in you. All right, sweetie. Okay, so we'll move on. We'll go to Ryan. You're so welcome. So do you guys see how that works? Guys, it's kind of crazy, right? But we get to the underlying factors. And again, I was talking to this medical researcher, and he's going, no, it's because of this and this and this. And it's like, yeah, I totally agree with the medical community. Of course, it is, the genetics. It is what you're eating. It is all that. But why is your genetics shifting the way it is? Why is it causing the disease that it is? They don't know how diseases, say, form. They just know how to, say, maybe treat them. But again, XI goes to the underlying cause on what happened. And then again, it resolves the diseases, not just for that person, but then genetically for future generations as well. Ryan, how you doing, buddy? You gotta unmute.
There we go. Is that better?
Absolutely, yeah. It's nice.
Excellent.
I'm doing really well. So you're an XIer. You've been around. Yeah, we've done some cool events together, gone ships, snowboarding or skiing together and all that. So yeah, a lot of fun.
Yep.
You've for Father's Day, basically, hell of a trip with your family overall.
That's been interesting. Let's put it that way.
Yes. So, and then you perpetuated that pattern with your son, and then your the mother of your son, and so on like that. So, if that makes sense, Free.
Yeah.
That's your trajectory. But then now where you are is like you're pulling back, and you're actually starting to, say, unveil who Ryan is. So coming into a more masculine frequency. I mean, you look masculine and so on, but basically your pattern was back in the day is getting hammered by women.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, it feels like certainly recently it feels like I'm trying to, it's like tipping or touching the ceiling of releasing this mother female grip, call it that, frequency off myself.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of tipping it. It's a bit of a back and forth at the moment, but that kind of consciousness seems to be trying hard to keep on, basically.
Yep. So for you, and again, the audience, take a breath in. So for those who run these kind of patterns, and notice your spine. I don't know if your father or a masculine frequency, it could be your mom. Do they have spine issues, or as they age, do their spine get like shorter or curved?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, I would probably see that in my father. Yeah,
Yeah.
possibly both actually. I'm not sure. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the cool thing about XI, become intelligent, is that, physically, your problems like resolve, but then it's like for Ryan, he's awakening again, opening that veil, and what's happening for him is like he's coming to a realization, and we'll talk about the woman frequencies, by the way, that trash you, because that's part of it. So for you, you're coming to a level where it's like, wait a second, uh, I don't like this about dad or mom and all that, the family value structure. I don't need the bone issues either. So this is where you age differently than your parents. This is where you can age younger. It's really cool, guys. How many of you, again, listening in, have aged differently than your parents? So that's what you're going through. Even extreme patterns. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not claiming the cure, but when I do claim that I awaken you to a higher level and go, well, shit, that's my dad's pattern. That's not my pattern. So you're getting to a point where you can start to choose who Ryan really is.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
this is how your family, your relationship with your son changes, by the way, as well.
Mm.
From what I'm
Okay,
saying.
awesome. Yeah, it feels like they're the old consciousness rule sets, which like you just said, I don't need to adhere to anymore. It's not required. It's like releasing a lot of requirement. It's like requirement of this level of consciousness. It's like, wait a minute, I can kind of wait a minute. It seems like there's a bigger picture here available. But
Yes.
just yeah.
So you, Ryan, wanted to treat your son differently. Does that make sense? Because you didn't want to repeat the pattern
Exactly.
of what
Yes.
happened to your father. But unfortunately, look what happened to the relationship between you and your son. It turned
Yeah.
out to be the same end result. Does that
Yeah.
make sense to
It
you?
did. Yeah.
So it's an important factor, guys, especially for those people in healing mastery, and you're studying all this stuff, helping people, is that again, start to notice algorithms or patterns in people, not specific experiences. So what that means for Ryan is like, okay, my family was like X, Y, and Z. And then what you do, whatever X, Y, and Z is like what Ryan did is like, well, his whole life, literally since, I don't know, did you run away? It almost feels like you ran away at 12 or 13.
I don't remember that physically, but certainly,
Mentally.
probably, yeah, exactly. It'd be more like mentally or just running a pattern of
Yeah.
just needing to get out, sort of thing.
I need
Yeah.
to get out. Okay. I'm just feeling that frequency is like, okay, this is a little too much or too messed up for me. I don't want to be that kind of human. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
talk about that with your father. And it's like, I need to get out. I need to push away. I need to do whatever. So literally you ran away, but physically you didn't run away. Mentally you ran away, and you literally say created a void in yourself. Okay. This is why that's so important. How many of you guys have done that, by the way? You can't escape the situation that you're in, but you escape at a, say, frequency level, and you just create a void in your life. The importance of that is that, again, throughout your whole life, you haven't felt life. It's been a void for
Yeah.
you. That's where
Yeah.
it comes. And then this is where depression and all that stuff through your 20s and so on start to come about. So all those things, again, you're really ready to disconnect at a very, very deep level. You've done a great job with XI, but now it's like, I really don't need that at all.
No. No, I don't. It feels like I don't, it actually feels pretty awesome because it just feels like there's something better available.
Yes. So what you've done with XI, okay, this is really cool for, up and coming XIers or, intermediate advanced XIers, is like, it's like basically Ryan, has come to his truer form. And it's like, you know what? The patterns of my mom and dad, I haven't used that program for a long time. so you're at this level, like just like a program, an app on your phone. It's like, this app was like, hey, I got to be like my dad. I got to treat my son like my dad. I got to attract women that trash me and so on, and keep me from seeing my son and so and it's like, I haven't run that program in a long time. I want to delete it completely from my phone. So you are completely deleting it, and that's what I'm helping you with if you choose. Uh,
Yes. Yes,
I,
please.
I haven't used that for a long time. My life has changed. I don't need it anymore. So you're revisiting your life and going, yeah, I need to move on to the next step. I just need to clean these apps out, or these patterns of my family out, including again physical patterns of aging. So congratulations, my friend.
Thanks,
Uh,
Moss.
you'll feel a void one more time, because that's how you escaped from your old identity. So that's your pattern of shifting as well. So be happy about that. You'll feel a void just because you knew something was wrong back then. You felt a void, you separated, you got into XI and whatever, cleaned up. So now it's like, you know what, I need to move on again. So you'll use that void perspective, but this time, this is where like you can start to access like Buddhist states and things of that nature, where Buddha says, be alone, come into nature. So I see you going into nature a lot, understanding yourself, going inwards. That's where that void comes into a real void. And this is where, again, the beauty of your inner self comes through. So nice job. Really
Thanks,
nice.
Moss.
Yeah,
Thanks very much.
you're welcome. It's nice seeing you again. We'll go to
Thank you.
Keith. Again, guys, as Keith gets ready, most people, I don't like this, I'm going to do the opposite. But as Ryan found out, whenever you're referencing whatever you don't want, it's just the other side of the coin. The bottom line is that you get the end result in a different way, but you get the same end result. Okay. My family was very religious. I'm not. But again, you get whatever your family went through that you're trying to escape, you're going to go through. My family was very poor. I'm going to be rich, or vice versa. You get the same end result. Again, how many of you have done that? I'm so different than my family, but look at the bottom line of your life. Does it resonate with the same value systems as your family, or the same end results? Right? Where were we? Keith. Hey, Keith, how are you?
Hey Moss, I'm doing all right.
Good. How long have you done XI, or if you've done XI, or
A couple years now, actually.
okay?
Really enjoy all the 18 days. Graduated from the essential to the advanced for the last several.
Yeah, it's almost like you've gotten a whole new, um, I don't know how to say it, Keith. It's like you got your mojo back.
Yes and no. So, I would say that in a lot of areas of my life are great,
Mhm,
absolutely great.
mhm,
Uh, but in work slash career,
mhm,
I feel there's something there, and I'm not sure if it's a pattern I'm running or something needs to be cleaned up or what, but there seems to be sort of a fuzziness to it that um,
mhm.
my I've been doing my best to align my work and career with my purpose, and I feel like the purpose is clear for me, but working to find the way to exist in this particular world, doing the work that I want to be doing to align with my purpose.
Okay. I love what you said. So take a breath in. Um, so here's the deal. So back in the day, yeah, take a breath in, and again, just notice your core. So your lower back, your hip structure, the groin area, that area seems like it's just been crashed, and that's why I said you got your mojo back. So whether you attract feminine men or masculine women, it's that kind of pattern. Does that make sense? And you have to take or you have to be that survivor for them. Does that make sense for you? Like you're the
Survivor
problem.
and rock maybe, but not the other.
Say that again.
Sort of be their rock, or sort of be that stability, but
Okay. However you define it, but what's the but part?
I, I've just been paying a lot of attention to what's been going on in the previous people before me, and
Mhm.
um, I the attracting sort of opposite orientation frequencies in people. I don't know that, or at least I'm not seeing that.
Yes. So again, take a breath in and notice the groin area. So when you're somebody's rock as a man, okay, and this is why it's so important for fathers and just men in general. When you become somebody's rock, basically they gnaw away at your masculinity. Get it? So, so you would become more and more masculine, so to speak. And this is where men, where people, what they need is like, this makes me feel more masculine because I saved this woman, or I'm a rock for my children and this and that, which is really good. But then that person, that man overall needs more adrenaline because it makes them feel good about themselves, so to speak, right? And they need more and more being a rock. But again, what's happening is that that rock is getting gnawed away with by people. Okay. However, loving or not, it's not the point. It's just that that's how the trajectory works. And then you need more and more. Right. So that's one aspect that you're moved in and you're new to it. Okay. The other aspect is that you said you had not passion, but a purpose. You've redefined your purpose or something like to that effect?
No, I believe my purpose is clear for myself. Like when I think about what that is, it resonates with me,
Okay, what's
and
your purpose?
and that's in tune. But working uh, to create the career, the job, what I do to fulfill that
Mhm.
has sort of f- felt fuzzy, or just sort of unclear in terms of this is exactly what I can do that aligns with that purpose.
Right. So what's your purpose?
To help raise the vibrational frequency of the people and the planet through the creation of music, and through mediums of
Mhm.
relating to music and sound.
Okay, beautiful. That's a great purpose. But let's just kind of look at it analytically. Take a breath in, especially if you're creating music and sound and so on like that. So if you want to raise the vibration of individuals, and this is where most individuals get it reversed, and this is what's happening for you, and this is why say you're getting your mojo back. So again, it falls in line. You're in a great place. We're just not understanding it conceptually as clearly as we could, and that'll fall into place once you say step into yourself a bit more. Okay, most people go, well, I'm going to get really wealthy and then I'm going to go help the world. Okay, it's philanthropy. I'm going to go create beautiful music that helps the world, which is fantastic. But what happens is that people have done that throughout the ages. It hasn't really worked out, no matter how divine a purpose it is, no matter how, it sounds great. But what you're doing now, which is really great, Keith, is that what you're doing now is like it's flipping over, and that's what's kind of confusing you. You are elevating yourself to a higher level of consciousness. Okay. That makes sense to you. You're seeing things differently. Even your purpose or your passion might change a bit here. You're kind of confused about like, well, should I do this or that? Or again, even your purpose might become more and more vague for a little bit. Because it's all about if you want to elevate consciousness, you have to elevate yourself. Okay. And as you elevate yourself, who you are, the music that you create will have a frequency of a higher elevation, a higher frequency. So you're just doing it backwards, right? And this is that flip. Many people and high profile individuals that I work with, guys, they're doing it's like, my purpose is to really help the world, create this great invention. But like, look at all the great benevolent inventions that's turned sour and it's turned the wrong way on people. The reason why, like maybe like AI, for example, it's a great invention, but it'll destroy humanity faster if we don't use it, if the humans that are using it aren't elevating themselves. So for you, your trajectory, and that's what I was helping you with today, is literally like, let's just drop you into the next level, just put you into the next level. It's like you've graduated, you've gotten promoted, and that's what I was helping you with. It's just like it'll snap into you the next few days, and you go, oh shit, that's what I'm doing. That's what it is. So when you elevate yourself, and again, guys, comment in for those who've gone through this process. You elevate yourself to a higher level of consciousness. The music that you create, if you're a chiropractor or whatever healthcare worker, your clients see the differences in you. If you're a businessman, your business runs smoother and it has a cleaner purpose to elevate consciousness. So it's not about your music helping people. It's about you coming to a higher level of self, creating music that helps people, not the other way around. Okay. So in today, basically, I was just flipping this around for you. And it's a simple fix at the level of XI that you are, which is really cool. You're different to you, by the way. How many musicians that are out there, your music or even your acting career skills changed? You flipped around as you flipped around, and people will literally gravitate towards your music, Keith, and they'll go, whoa, this feels really cool, because it's feeding the soul, it's nourishing the soul, and that's what you want at a deeper level for your music. You want them not just to hear it, but literally nourish the soul for you, right?
Yeah.
So to do that, you have to elevate yourself to a higher level, and you're on the right trajectory, my man. And you're not going to be a rock. You're going to be a rock. Instead of a rock, you're going to be a lighthouse for people, which is a lot better, because a lighthouse can shine on a ton of people without losing its light.
That's what I want.
A rock, people can hold on to so many, there's a limited number of people that can hold on to you before
Yeah.
again you drown. But when you become a lighthouse, like I see you, you're just like tens of thousands or whatever people can be under that light. And again, it doesn't drain you, which is the key. Right, buddy? So nice job. Very nice. You're on your trajectory. I definitely do the accelerated 18 days, and you'll just go really far. Nice job, buddy. Okay.
Will do. Thanks.
We'll go to Gregario, or I don't know.
Hello, hi, Mas. Can you see me? Can you hear me well?
Hi. I can. How do you say it? How do you
Gregorio.
say your name? Gregorio. I love that accent.
Yes.
Sounds cool.
Thank you. Thank you, Mas. Well, we've been already with you for a few years, but it's the first time that I'm on this impact session. First
Okay.
time.
Anything special you want to work on?
Yeah, actually, I have several items, but one of the most concerning right now is for my son, Ariel. He's already 29, but he started having addiction since he was 17, and he's been in and out, in and out, in and out, and now he's back to living with us. He's 29,
Yeah.
and we're very concerned because he's getting older and he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have a future. He doesn't have a school, and he went from stopping using drugs to now prescription drugs. You know the medical system? They switch him from one to another one.
I know,
And,
so sad.
and sometimes it's worse. What I'm finding out that what they give, the prescription drugs, sometimes are worse on the up here on the mind.
Yeah.
So he's on that, and I mean, I don't know what else to do. We're just stuck on that situation.
Yep. Take a breath in, buddy. There we go. So I help a lot of kids again who are addicted to drugs or suicidal and so on like that. Um, again, I don't claim to cure anybody, but when you awaken or go to the underlying cause, the first principle, you see why. Did somebody die? When I see your son, it's almost like he died at around 15 or wanted to die, or his personality changed around that time.
Yeah, we have had a lot of deaths, but just to give you an idea of the huge emotional trauma, if I give you 15 of his friends, 13 are dead. 13 are dead tragically. I mean, in extreme situations.
Yeah. So around, let's just say, guys, I don't know how many of you played the Ouija board and stuff like that. That wasn't just a game for some people. It literally was like pulling in sources.
He played when he was young.
Yep, thought so. Or he got into groups, or this is where, it's like the teenagers, it's like, yeah, let's go see that movie, about possession and so on like that. That literally propels that consciousness of possession, gets indoctrinated in their mind, and it sounds kind of cool. It's like, yeah, let's play around with witchcraft or Satanism and all that, because that's the rage. It's like, you do not want to do that because you give your power away. Religions are just the opposite version of that. You give your power away, right? So whether it's religion or that stuff that kids try to get away from, it's all the same thing. You're giving your power away. You don't want to do that. And that's what your son has gotten into, again, around 14, 15. It's so, the good thing is that you're more of a solid identity because what you've done with XI. Does that make sense? You and your partner, from what it's like a whole identity. Now that solidness, okay, not like a rock, but like a light, that solidness is like gonna hold him back so he doesn't end up like his friends. Okay.
Correct.
So one, the biggest thing that the medical community, and this is why the drugs don't work, or he needs more and more drugs. It's again, I'm not a medical doctor, but he doesn't really have addictions. That's crazy. And on the surface, he does. But if he doesn't take the drugs or whatever he does, or if he doesn't abuse himself, so to speak. So if it wasn't addictions, he'd abuse himself, or he'd cut himself, or he'd hurt himself. The reason why is because he's getting pulled away into the space of death. He literally feels like he's dying inside. So when he takes drugs, basically it's like it snaps him out of that pattern. Okay. If you're drowning, for example, or what animals do, he kind of feels like an animal. Those animals that get trapped in, like an in the like the bear traps that they set, in parks and so on. There's an animal, and it's like, shit, what do I do? They bite off their paws to stay free. Otherwise, they die off. So basically, that's your son. He's not really an addictive type personality, if that makes sense to you. Although in your family, runs a victim personality.
Yes.
Or somebody that gets blamed. And then that person goes, shit, I've got too many problems. I don't know what to do. He's just got too many death wrapped around him, and it's a heavy burden. And he's just like, ugh. And it's like, shit, I got to drink. Whatever. So take a breath in. One, let's remove that pattern from you, and then also your son. Holy crap, that's a lot of death.
A lot, math.
In your family as well. In your family, because of the religious values, you hold on to people who die.
And math, part of that death, I've been since a child involved in that death because it was in the family. Many of them.
Yep. And again, we honor the dead. The way your family honors the dead is just holding on to their presence. Literally, their body gets buried, their consciousness that creates them, or their battery, so to speak,
Yeah.
or that plug-in that their body was plugged into, still exists. Your son is a conduit. And shit, if he walked through a hospital, with a lot of dead people, he'd come out with fucking
Bunch
30.
of them.
Yep.
Yeah, I have to be cleaning him on a regular basis.
Yep.
But I'm getting tired. Bottom line, I'm getting tired.
Yep. Well, you're at a level too, is that as the world comes in, as the world changes, a lot of the people who have died, not the right way, will, and I predicted this, will come into the living, by the way.
Okay.
Just clean that up. Just give me a second. No, we're running out of time here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whoa. He has really nice abilities. A very nice young man. Got blamed for a lot of things, or
Yes.
he'd connect with people that's like, hey, take on my problems, or you're to blame for my problems, and then it gives them weakness. I think you kind of used to be like that as well, and it's like, okay, I'll take it on. So you've turned it around radically nice. It allows your son, 1, 2, 3, just give me a second here. There's just a lot of strange, weird deaths that I have to move out of the way for him. 1, 2. And this perpetuates too, because you open up a certain generation of death, and then the next generation goes, well, what about me? So it's kind of like that. So all the people who've died in your family didn't go where they needed to go. They just accumulated around you. And so overall, I'm just creating a stairway to heaven, basically. So you'll literally see them, your abilities, and he'll probably talk about it. He'll see or sense death around him, but they won't go inside him. It's like, I'm not the light. So it's like the stairway to heaven is there for you, just to put it nicely. There we go. It'll be interesting in about a week or two just to see what happens to your son. So right back, I bet he'll be like, whoa, what happened? It's like, I woke up, and he'll
Do you recommend a follow-up therapy, Mas, or do you recommend?
if you'd like. Yeah, I would say, yeah, in a couple of weeks. Yeah, and you can just, I've got a huge waiting list, but yeah, you can, we'll fit you in about 3-4 weeks. I would do that.
Good.
And it'll just keep him protected, for because when you pull all that away from him, he'll become unsure of himself, and then sometimes they invite him back. He doesn't want that, but
because it's what he has known most of his life. So when it gets removed, he's going to feel if some part of his life was lost or something.
Yep, absolutely, because it wasn't his, but he thinks it's his. So by the way, you look a lot cleaner and fresher, doesn't he? You look more alive, so which is really nice. So all right, buddy.
Thank you, Mas. Appreciate it.
You bet. You take care.
Thank you, sir.
We'll go to Connie, and then Ben. It's crazy. A lot of suicides, a lot of things that happen, guys. It's not here. It's not what's physically happening. It literally is the unseen portion of what dictates this reality. We'll go to Connie. Hey, Connie, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, so how many personalities do you want to work on today?
Because I was thinking that's what, the theme it seems like right now. Yeah. I thought there was only, 4.
Have you worked with me before? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the theme? Basically, you connect with other identities or personalities. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah.
Okay. So do you change your mind a lot? Or okay. So these are the physical things that it's like, oh, I can't make up my mind, or like, I like this thing, or like, and then the next day it's like, I don't even know why I like this thing. or people will go, remember, Connie, that we talked about this, and you go, not really, and it's like, well, you were right there, you even said it, and you go, I don't know. Does that make sense to you? Is that kind of you?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel kind of scattered or unsure of yourself?
Yep. Sometimes. Yeah.
Do you feel like, you'll start something and then it's like, gosh, that's, I need to go start something else?
Hmm. Yeah. That would be, yeah.
Yeah. So at the physical level, those are the symptoms. And then we could go to the psychological level where it's like, well, you just need to have a schedule. You need to set that schedule, and so on like that. And then that doesn't work out, and then they'll start to give you, drugs and stuff, and so on. Were you on some sort of medication, by the way,
No.
or was your mom?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. I just kind of sense that your mom was on a medication that wasn't good for you when she was pregnant with you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So right off the bat, you came into this world, and you've got great abilities, by the way. You've got great gifts, of like seeing things or sensing things around you. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So when you were a little girl, you'd probably say things to your mom or whatever. It's like, hey, mom, so and so, or you would go into, it's like, your mom might say, where the hell did she go? She's not paying attention, and so on like that.
Yes.
Does that make sense for you?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
All the time that I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, can't guarantee anything, but you're older now. You're not a kid anymore. So let's set you in space and time. So this is what I see. So medical wise or genetic wise, is that if your mom took something, okay, she took some kind of drug, 6 months into her pregnancy, and it didn't allow your GPS basically to form in your brain that well. So what that means is basically when you're born, your whole brain, what your brain really does is literally tells you that you're here, and it gives you coordinates, and that's why your senses are here, literally spatial referencing you all the time, so you understand why you're here and where you're here. That didn't work out well for you. Does that make sense to you? This is
Yeah,
also
it does.
when you're a teenager, you would zone away or zone out, and you would have to go, okay, where am I? You'd have to pay extra attention to things. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah.
Or like when you'd wake up in the morning, you'd have to kind of look around or go, okay, where am I? You'd have to resettle yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would call it a simple fix. So take a breath in. Just notice the lower part of your brain, if you can. And after this, for you and other people watching, I would study the brain. I would get schematics of the brain, like a 3D, and just really pay attention. If you're doing any of my meditations, have a picture of the brain, like on your phone or whatever, and meditate with the lower half. Okay, and that'll start your healing process for you.
Okay.
Breath in again. There you go. There we go. So, Jocelyn is telling me more eye contact with Moss on screen. Yeah. I don't look at you guys directly because this is how I work. I have to anchor myself to some place here, and then I expand out, and this is where I can tap into you. So that's why I don't have like direct eye contact for you all. Take a breath in again. There you go. For those advanced Xires, again, it's a great practice to have where you can focus in on a specific, tiny object, right? A grain of sand or whatever, a speck of dirt. I'm just looking at a scratch on the floor, for example. because it's so tiny, and it anchors me in precision, space, and time. It holds me in the present moment, and then I can again expand out into Connie's world. So I don't lose myself in Connie's world. A lot of you healers or psychologists or just normal individuals, you get into other people's world, like Connie there. She'll hang out with somebody and she literally will lose herself. So she will like separate herself after a while, or she can't handle like too much, say, too many people as well. Does that make sense for you, hon?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is this
Yeah.
all stemming from the GPS coordinates not being strong enough? Is this,
Yep.
and then I can't realize, like, hold my own here, and then I go into, okay, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is why I have troubles falling. I could easily fall as well, because it always feels like, where am I? Where am I? How come I can't where my body is? How come I can't learn that new thing?
Exactly. And this is what, as again, this is where you might have the propensity where the eye foot brain coordination, when people get older, they miss a tiny little step because subconsciously they can't. The brain doesn't tell the foot to pick up because it's just a little delayed. That
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I
So
have this.
again, how old are you, hon?
51.
Okay. Yeah, you're still young. And let's help keep that. Let's age you a little younger. And for people who've had issues as an infant, sometimes what I can do is, and it seems like I can do that for you because that's still open. That reality is open. Just like Einstein said, if it wasn't for time and space, everything will happen at once. So you'd be an infant and you'd be 51 or you'd be dead all at one time, right? So again, those realities are still open. We just can't access them. So let's access back to when you were in your mom's belly.
Okay.
And it's a new technology that I'm trying out, guys. It's really cool. Work for some good people with really amazing results. Breath in again. There we go. There we go. There we go. So what I was doing is basically, it's a lot easier for your identity to heal if you're an infant. Makes sense. So for what you'll probably experience is that you'll have dreams of being in your mom's belly, for example, and being an infant, or you'd have thoughts of a young girl and so on like that. The reason for that is basically you're going through time and resetting those moments, and then your present moment self changes where you would have a healthy GPS system in you. And this is where you'll come into one identity. There we go. How are you feeling now?
Really good. I feel really solid through
Yeah.
this, right out through my hands. I can feel out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can actually feel your body, right?
yeah, I'm here, really present.
Yes.
I feel like on the outside. Yeah.
No offense, but you'll feel really calm, and people won't, just saying it, people won't think you're as bitchy as they might think they are, because you're really not. You're just, no offense, sweetie, but people, it's like, why she's like that? Because you're pushing against them to make you feel solid. Does that make sense? So you
Yeah.
feel a
Yeah.
little snippety, I guess, another way of putting it. So so you'll just be calm, and it's like, oh wow, she's really calm. She's really cool. I mean, you're great, you're funny and all that stuff, but people don't see that side because you're always trying to go, hey, it's like if you were in a crowd, you'd be pushed all over the place, and you're just going, hey guys, watch out, I'm here. They don't even see you, by the way. So all those things will resolve. It's really cool. So look around you, spatial reference, and look around you, and you can solidify that while you're here. Okay. You look so different, hon. You
I
look
feel,
so calm.
yeah, I feel good because that's exactly how I feel, like a pinball all
Yeah.
the time. Yeah.
Nice job. Very
Thank
nice.
you.
You're so welcome. We'll go to Ben. So again, guys, spatial referencing is what we teach on the 18 days, essential, the advanced 18 days. We teach advanced spatial referencing, intermediate and advanced spatial referencing. Actually intermediate, the advanced spatial referencing, that this is where you can get into like again, like Buddhist state realms and so on, and stay conscious where you are. So which is really, really cool. All right. Where's Ben? Ben. Hey, Ben. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Anything you want to work on, buddy?
Yeah, my mommy issues are getting in the way of my relationship like a lot.
Yeah, I see that. It's do you have a short temper, by the way?
My dad did.
Okay. You're always reacting to that short temper. Does that make sense? It makes you frantic.
What is frantic?
Frantic? It's like your dad gets like angry at you, and then you just don't know what to do to be a good boy type feel.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? So it's like, how do I please my dad? How do I make him happy? How do I make him not angry at me? So it's like you're like reaching out. So so you're not like calm, or you're not confident. Does that make sense for you?
Yes.
And this is what's happening to your relationship, by the way. How long have you been together?
8 years.
8 years?
Yes.
No, awesome. So as you get, the reason why I asked, the longer you're in a relationship, the more and more you become frantic, or the more and more you become unstable. So for your partner, for your wife, basically she's looking at you like, I can't rely on him as much as I should, because you're losing your identity. Does that make sense to you? And you're trying, for you, you would feel more anxious, so to speak, more questioning of yourself. It's like, God, and then you'd associate it to, well, I could have done more in my life. I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done that. I missed out on my life, and so on like that. It makes you unstable, basically. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then also what happens with your mom as well. So your dad did that to you, but then did you protect your mom, or did your dad yell at your mom and then you didn't know what to do either? It's like, so
Well,
what?
there was definitely like verbal abuse. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're a kid and you're listening to your mom and dad argue, and you're just like, you get into that state where you're just like, what do I do? Because you want to put the fire out. You're all about putting the fire out, so to speak. It's like, I don't want to live like that, and then, but you don't know what to do. So again, it's that frantic feel. As you age, it just becomes more magnified for you. So let's see if we can just delete that pattern for you. Notice your spine. Let's settle you in. It's a time issue, not like Connie's, but it's a time issue. So people, when you get anxious or nervous, or like you're in trouble or whatever, you get pushed out of your state. And again, it's not a good feeling. And this is where your wife would need somebody, again, more, say, stable, to feel secure for herself, because she always needs a rock, so to speak. And well, your rock is, say, melting away. So breath in again. Did all that make sense? Do you have questions by that?
No, it absolutely makes sense.
So what I'm doing for you, one, is stabilizing you. Spatial referencing is important. Okay. Just observing where you are. Touching things with your feet. I don't know why your feet is important for you, but for you, barefoot on any surface, it literally grounds you. I think I don't know. I think as a child, you found it calming to be in the water or something like that. Does that make sense or no?
I grew up at the ocean, so I can't live without it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the deal. So water is a very calming experience for you. So for you, again, go back, especially if you're doing the 18 days, you know, or meditating with me and stuff, have your feet in water because, you know, as a kid growing up in the ocean, your feet is always in water. The ocean water is always calming. So, so it's really cool. It's more than just grounding and so on like that, because you've associated a calm environment with the ocean. The ocean would be like, say, your brother, so to speak, that would just solidify you. Someone to talk to, so to speak. Does that make sense for you?
It does.
So it's important to do, again, for you, meditations, my meditations in the ocean. It'll really pull you in, and this is where you'll stay solid. And then on top of that, I was just removing that pattern of, I don't know if your dad's around or not, whether he is or not. As you age, his voice inside your head that never went away rings in your ears more and more, so you get that frantic state. So the connection between your mom and dad and that relationship, I just like, you've done enough XI. I just like deleted it for you. It's like you don't need that shit anymore. Okay.
Thank you.
How do you feel, by the way?
Awesome. Like my heart is just more open. It's,
Yeah, your wife is very sensitive, and she'll look at you and it's like, oh wow, he's really here. And this is where your connection comes back together again. And it's literally a resetting of yourself. So, okay.
awesome. Thank you, Mas.
You're so welcome, my friend. Again, guys, I can't guarantee anything, but for Ben, that's all he probably needed to reset his whole relationship, not just with his wife, but with, you know, if he's got kids, and especially, you know, with himself and a higher consciousness. So that's how important, again, like father frequencies are. So we're doing a reparenting, the father frequency. Reparenting, what that means is that, for example, for Ben, he basically, and this is what we did that for mothers, by the way, so that's out there for you. But reparenting is basically, you're an adult now. You go back and you're a parent, a conscious parent, a wise parent, a loving parent, reparenting the young version of yourself. Basically, that's what I did for Connie as well, right? I went back for her. I did it more automatically for her. But basically, she's going to go back and nurture her younger version. Now, hers was more a physical issue, not much of an emotional, but again, and then you'll go repair. But the deal is, you go reparent yourself. You go back and heal that younger child in a very, very different way, right? It's not about hypnosis or, you know, regression and anything like that, because regression just basically reactivates the memories, and sometimes that heals you. But what if we could go back and rewrite not what happened to you, because it did happen to you, right? Like Ben, his father, you know, argued with his mom a lot. That can't change, right? Or you got abused. That can't change. But the meaning that you attached, the actions that you say got, you know, that embedded in your cellular identity, those things can change. We can rewrite that, and that's what this reparenting is coming about. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. I just want to close out. We'll scan you all on the next Moss on Sunday. All right. We also have body image coming up. That's coming up on June 28th. Where you take a look at it. We've got some other events coming up. It's all on the it's on the schedule on masterjada.com. Again, remember to sign up, subscribe to this channel, tell it to your friends, like the video, so we can transform the world and transform the world. By the way, I just want to thank everybody that attended the Lake Harriet Spiritual Center. It was really fantastic. It was a celebration of getting together, starting the new reality consciousness, which was really beautiful. creating a vortex around it, and then also getting rid of the shame, the guilt, the fear, and all those things that have, well, basically demonized us into not being our best possible self. It was a very powerful event if you attended it. So thank you so much. Whether you attended it on the physical premises here in Minneapolis or online, really powerful event for me and for the audience as well, as get that feedback. Again, thanks all, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.